All right, hey guys, starting lemon with Aleph, two lines from the bottom. Here we go from the brisa that we know very well. Taner Banan. The rabbis tell the brisa. Pasuk says v'shinata. You should teach. Now we darshan that you divrei Torah michudadim b'ficha. The Torah should be sharp in your mouth. She'im yishalacha adam davar. If somebody's going to come and ask you something, al tegam game v'tamar lo. You shouldn't be stuttering and then tell them, thinking about like what the answer is. Ela amar yad. Rather, you're supposed to be able to tell them immediately. Shnemar, because the pasuk says. We're gonna to switches on explain that is that you should speak to Chachma that you are my sister. That Rashi explains that just like you know that your sister is usher to you, that you would never marry your sister, you're supposed to know all of Torah that clearly. And pasuk continues, or there's a second pasuk that they give. It says right here, beginning of the first line, the Omer Kisham al etzbeich al etzbosayich kisa aloach libeich, that you should write on your arm, and you should also they're tied to your arm, and you should also write on the board of your heart. Seemingly, it's talking about something like tefillin, but we're darshaning out that it's speaking about putting Torah onto yourself, putting Torah onto your heart, etching it into you. The Omer third pasuk, that just like the arrows are in the hands of a soldier, so too they're in the hands of young kids. And if you just change a little bit when you're young, then you can get to the Mitzvah B'ficha later when you're older. Omer, pasuk number 4. Dalad. That the arrows of soldiers are very sharp. The Omer, we say, that your arrows that are sharp of your nation, all of your enemies are basically going to fall underneath of you. Who's your enemy? In this case, we're talking about your Charusa, the Omer. Further, it says, pasuk 6, Asher hagever asher mole es ashpasa mehen. Fortunate is the person that fills up their dumpster with sort of the shafts of one's arrows or bullets. Lo yivoshu, you shouldn't be embarrassed. Ki davar es oivim b'shar, when you go speak with your neighbor at the gate. My es oivim b'shar. What does the pasuk mean when it's talking about speaking with your enemy at the gate? Amar Rabbi Chia, so Rabbi Chia answers that Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba answers afilu ha'am ubeno harab talmidisha oskin b'torah b'shar echad. If a father and son or a Rebbe and Talmud are going to be speaking about Torah in the shar at a gate, nas and oivin zed zed, they're going to come to become enemies with one another, trying to fight the pshat. What's the MS? The recommendation is that they should not leave from that spot until they come to love each other. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, es vahav besufa, that literally talking about the milchama, writing down different wars that Hakadosh Baruch Hu saved us, so we can give them a hodah. Thank you. But we darshan al tik besufa el besufa, that you shouldn't read the pasuk as the word besufa, right? They should change the vowel to o besofa, that you're going to ahav, you're going to love your chavrusa in the end because you've really, really worked through something with them. Second thing, Taner Banan by the two dots, says visamtem, talking about tefillin, it's supposed to put it on your arm. But we darshan sam tam, that Torah is a simple cure. Nimshal Torah kisam chayim. The Torah is analogized, if it's even a word, like a living medicine. Mashal, what's the example? Mashal adam shehaka es beno makagdola. Father is going to hit his son a real big whack. He's going to put some type of bandage cast on the makkah. Send in my son, real stern. All the time that this is on your makkah, you can eat what you want, you can drink what you want, and even shower as you please. It's a waterproof cast. Go for it. You don't have to be scared. But once you go take that cast off, you're in for a load of trouble and spraying blood everywhere. I don't know, something. The same thing that Hashem says to Klal Yisrael, B'ni, my son, Barasi Yitzhahara, Barasi L'Tara Tavlin. I created the Yitzhahara, but Torah is able to fix it. As long as you're osik in Torah, as long as you're going to learn Torah, then the Yitzhahara cannot conquer you. Shnemar, as we say by Kayin and Hevel. See if the page will scroll with the arrow. I don't think that it will. It's under the arrow, and then we'll go for that. Okay. as we say by Cain and Hevel, right over here, by the 9 in this Gemara, Holotin Titiv Se'es, that if basically you're going to do good, then your burden will be carried for you. But if you're not going to be osik in Torah, then you're going to be sent into the Yetzer Hara's wrath. Shnemar, this says, continuing there by Cain, the Pesach Chatas Rovates, that you're going to be opened up to sin and they're going to demolish you. It's not all. That you're going to be in a really, really bad news. Shnemar, Pasuk says, but if you do want to, it's you're able to conquer the Yetzer Hara. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, tim shabo. As it says it straight out that you are able. I'm talking to myself really. We are able to conquer the Yetzer Hara as long as we're osek b'Torah, learning Torah, and the Yetzer Hara will fall away from us. Torah banan. Mark continues, new brisa. Kashi Yetzer Hara sha'afili yotzer kro ra, is that the Yetzer Hara is so difficult that even its Yotzer, even its creator, Hashem, called it evil. Shnemar, the pasuk says, "Ki Yetzer leiv ha'adam ra urav." Talking about Noach and the Mabul, is that Hashem understands that people are evil from their inception when they're born. We don't look at this like the Christian way that people are inherently evil, but we're inherently taken over by evil spirits like the Yetzer Hara. So we really have no shot. Rabbi Yitzchak, Yitzhar shel Adam is mischai b'chol yom. So I figured out how to beat the Yitzhar yesterday. It's going to come up with new tactics today. As the pasuk says, Shnemar rak kol hayom, that it's only bad every single day. It's going to be mischadish. That's what the Gemara is learning. Rabbi Shimon Levi. Shimon Levi says Yitzhar shel Adam is misgaber on love. That the Yetzer Hara of a person is going to come onto them very strong. Kol yom, every single day. Mufaki shamito. And they're actually going to ask for a person's death. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, Sofa Rush l'Sadik Mufaki Shlamito. Seems that a Russia is going to attack Sadiqim and basically ask Hashem for their death. Not really a Russia, but the Gemara is understanding it as the Yetzer Hara himself. V'ila Malik Kadosh Baruch Hu Ozro, and if it wouldn't be that Hashem were going to help us, Ein Yachalo, we wouldn't be able to conquer the Yetzer Hara. Shnemar, Pasuk says, Elokim liyazan biyado. Hashem is not going to abandon us at our time of need, i.e., to fight the Yetzer Hara. Tanavi Rabbi Yishmael B'ni. Rabbi Yishmael says, my son, in Pagabach Manuvel Zeh, if this terrible thing, this disgusting Yetzer Hara is going to meet you, what are you supposed to do? Mashche lebeis hamedrash. You should drag him into the base of medrash. Im aven nimuach. The Im Barzel, who in states, we give two different mashalim of the way that the Yetzer Hara can be compared. If it's an even, if it's a stone, then it's going to be nimuach, it's going to disintegrate. In Barzel, if it's like some type of metal, then it's going to be states, it's going to be slammed down, hammered down. Shnemar, Pasuk says, Halokol divrei ke'esh ne'um Hashem, ukapati shifot tzela, that the fire is the pleasantness of Hashem, i.e. Torah, and it's going to be like a patish. It's going to be like a hammer to be a fultates that sela, to slam it down. If evenhu nimuach, if it's a stone, then it's going to be disintegrated. As the pasuk says, Shnemar koi called samei is that anybody thirsty should come and drink. Anybody thirsty, the one being attacked by the Yetzer Hara, should come and drink, connect to Torah, and that water, the Torah, is going to disintegrate the rock. Be Omer, and we should also say avanim shachu mayim, that stones are disintegrated in the water. So we have two good sources there. So again, that the Yetzer Hara can be compared either to an even or to a barzel, whether that's a stone, whether it's a metal. If it's stone, that's going to be disintegrated. If it's barzel, if it's like a metal, then it's going to be hammered out. Okay. Asu Isha. Going on the brisa of mitzvos that the father goes on to the son is to marry his son off to a wife. How do we know that? Because the pasuk says, "Kachu nashim holidu banim." The pasuk says that you should take women and they should bear sons, ubenos, and also bear daughters as well. Ukhu lebnechem nashim, and you should take for your sons wives. V'es b'nosechem. And your daughters, tunula anashim. And your daughters you should give to sons. So it seems that focus that the Gemara is focusing on this pasuk is to marry off your sons to daughters. We know from other places, like such as in Bereshis, that the mitzvah of pru'arvu, to recreate, is going on the man. The woman is not obligated in pru'arvu to have children. There's going to be different nafkaminas with that in terms of birth control, maybe to be discussed for another time. But being the point here is that the mitzvah is for the father to marry off the son. So bishlama beno biyado. So I understand that it's within the son. It's in his ability to get married because all he has to do is give the shabbat to the girl, and boom. So they're going to be married as long as she gives her consent. Alabito biyadohi. But is it within the daughter's consent, a daughter's ability to even get the man to come after her? We learn from the pasuk, "Vayikach ish es isha." It's the way of the man to go after the woman. There's different nafkaminas, whether in halacha that the man has to be the one to give shabbat. Also, different ways that dating works. Talk about it later. But the point is over here is that the man is going to be going after the girl. So the girl could say yes, but it's not within our ability to fulfill this pasuk that the man is going to come after the girl. It's only in the way that the girl could give her consent once offered. But how do we get the man to offer to her? So Halchik Amar, here's what the pasuk means. Nitin lo midi ulevaisha is that you're supposed to give her nice clothes. She can get dressed and look very pretty. Unixi, she can get nice makeup as well. So all the guys will come running, and then they'll be able to fulfill that second half of the pasuk to get married. But the specific mitzvah, father to son, is for the father to get his son married off to a girl. Next, Ulamdo Umnis is that the mitzvah is to teach him a trade. Milan, how do we know that? Amar Cheskia, Amar Krach. Because Cheskia says, we learn from the pasuk, Rechaim im isha asher hafta. You should see life with the woman that you love. Rashi explains that we're making a hekish, we're making a connection because they're in the same pasuk. Chaim, this word chaim is like chiyas, that you're getting life or sort of sustenance, i.e. a job. And this is isha, one's wife. So im isha mamish if we're talking about this isha in the pasuk literally means an isha, that you're living your wife with an isha. So kim shechayv lahasiu isha, just like you're required to marry him off to a woman, as we said up above, chayev l'lamdu on this. So then you would also be required to teach him a trade. And in Torahi, if we would understand that no, that's not a woman, but sort of the relationship that a person is supposed to have with a woman, also having that relationship with Torah. Torah, just like a father is required to teach his father Torah, then he would be required to teach his son a trade as well. We said back in that brisa that some even say lahasitu benar, that you have to teach him how to swim in a river. My taima, what's the reason? It's because it's fast of living. You need to know how to swim because maybe you're going to be on a boat and you're going to sink and die. Don't die, live, just learn how to swim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kol she'eino melamda umnis, v'lamda listos. So Rabbi Yehuda said in that parasha that anybody that does not teach his kid how to get a trade is as if he's teaching him robbery. Listos sakadaitach. Ask the Brisa, just like we saw before, do you really mean listos? Really robbery? Listos. Rather, it's as if you taught him listos. My benaihu. What's the difference between the Tanakama, who's saying that you need to teach him anyway, to Rabbi Yehuda, who's calling it listos? There is between them in the case of the Agri Iska. If he already knew a trade, Rabbi Yehuda would say that you need to go out of your way to teach him another one. Otherwise, it's called listos. Whereas the Tanakama says no, as long as he knows how to do a trade already, then you would have no further obligation to be mechanech him.